of announcements myself. This week, George put 3 videos out on the discussion group. The video from Jeff's Mojave class, the video from Michelle's Mimeo class, and Gary's question and answer, which was last week? Yeah. So all of those are on your discussion group if you want to review them.
The website.
Right. Just go to the mail and it'll take you to the website and you can pick it up there if you didn't get to be at those meetings. Also, you mentioned Jeff Bohr's class, and a little bit more about that. You know, I don't know if you have people in your family who understand how to use your phone and your computer, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you keel over tomorrow, who's going to go there and get all your good pictures, and who's going to know how to find your passwords and all that kind of stuff? So Jeff is going to give us some ideas about how to help our descendants to deal with our digital life. And I think, you know, we all make wills to make it easier on those who follow us. So let's figure out what to do with our computers and iOS devices. Also, in a few days, or soon, I don't know exactly when, George, but sometime this month, we're going to open registration for our classes. And they're going to start on January 12th. That's a Saturday. Our classes have been moved to Saturday. We had to change our venue, and that was the only time available for us, but it might be a good time. So they're going to be on Saturday mornings at the Naples Conference Center, and you will get notice of that on the discussion group when the registration opens. You'll be able to enroll for 1 or more classes all at the same time, which is going to be a great deal. George sent out a little notice about it the other day. I just wanted to show you, if you go to naplesmug.com, this is what you will see. And if you go down to, on the left column here, you will see classes and class notes. We don't get there yet, but this classes. And I opened up classes, and when you do that, you see the registration, the class descriptions, and directions of how to get to the new place. And if you go to the class descriptions here, they're quite detailed. So there's probably something in there you can decide that you would like to know. The first class is on the 12th. We don't have every consecutive week. We skip a week a couple of times because of availability. But you see how you have really nice, complete descriptions of what the classes are. So I would suggest you might want to go there and check out those classes. Jim is doing a new class, which I'm very excited about, using iTunes and music and streaming and all that kind of stuff that you can do now. I think most of us have not watching too much cable TV or network TV in the evenings. We're going to Netflix or Prime Video or tons of other stuff, so which is much better to watch anyway. So any questions about our upcoming classes? Yes?
Will we only be able to register for a few at a time? Because I know we've sort of been limited on when things open.
Okay. Number one, we don't have, the room is so big, we can have thousands, okay? So, no problem there. Secondly, the way it's going to be set up, my understanding is that you'll be able to register for 1 class, or 3 classes, or all the classes. There are 9 altogether. If you register for all the classes, you get 1 free. So, and the price is the same as last year, 15 for members, 24 for non-members. So I think it's going to be very interesting. We have a wonderful venue. Now I want to show you one more thing. And you can check this out. Let me go back here to, all right. This is where the classes are. All right, yeah, here's Pine Ridge Road. 41 is over here, 75 is over here. So here's Noodles Restaurant. I think most people know where that is. It's not quite, Goodlet is about over here. So it's pretty close to Goodlet, but not quite that far if you're coming westbound. And here is Pine Ridge Middle School. There's a traffic light here. So if you go in as if you're going to the middle school, and you go up just up to this first little road on the left here. This is like a shopping center here, but it's not really a lot of stores. It's sort of like businesses. So if you just go up here to the first left opening, and you go all the way across over here, and you turn up here, this is the Naples Conference Center. This is parking up here. So it's really pretty easy to get to. You can also go in this road and come around here, but there's no sign here. So I think it's easier to go in by the light, make a left, a right, and the door is right here. And you don't bother coming early, because we're not opening the doors till 9:30 exactly, so we can all rush in like a mob. Yes?
Do you know the name of that street off Pine Ridge where the lights are?
I'm not sure what it is. Anybody know the name of that street?
Eckerd, do you know? No.
That's a good sign for Pine Ridge Middle School.
Yeah, there is a big sign for Pine Ridge Middle. It might be Panther Way. No, I think Panther Way comes off Goodlet. Yeah, but yeah. But if you see Noodles Restaurant, you just make the first turn after that. If you're coming from this side, it's just past Good. I think it's the first light past Goodlet. I'm not sure, but it's pretty close there. And this is this is run by the realtors, the neighbors. That's their conference center. It's a beautiful place. And this used to be their place. Now it's a temple, I think, some kind of Jewish temple. So it's just to this side of the temple. But this doesn't, it looks a little like there's nothing much in these stores. So you just go up to some driveway, turn in here, go all the way through, and you're there. So, and this is on the website under directions. We don't want anybody to get lost. I'll have to give you Eckerd's cell phone number.
Listen, I was looking up the name of the street. So what was the question?
What was the name of the street?
The name of the street that goes from Pine Ridge to the middle school.
It's not legal, I don't think.
Oh.
Forest Lake.
Do we have to go do reflector again?
Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
I mean the reflectors on it.
Out front.
The conference center address says Pine Ridge Road, 1455 Pine Ridge Road.
And that's why I can't
And
find
that's
it.
what it
It's
shows.
not sitting on my page.
okay, we're back on. All right, this goes off mirroring very quickly, unfortunately.
You know, Eckerd, we should have mentioned, Eckerd, for an extra $200 for each class, we can serve liquor.
In the morning?
That's at the end of the class, not at the beginning.
So the fee would go from 15 to 35.
Yeah, no, and I used to go to PT at a place that was right off of that road too. And that was Pine Ridge Road too.
Pine Ridge Road, okay,
Was
that's,
also, so.
Just one quick, well, funny,
That's your name in the
funny,
map.
in jest correction. When you said you sign up for all 9 classes, you get one free. That would mean that you have to wait until next year, the following year. So I would suggest you say, if you sign up for 8 classes, you get the 9th one free.
okay,
Okay.
that sounds good, that sounds good.
Any other details we missed?
Okay,
Street name?
all right, questions? any questions? I have two so far. All right, maybe you'll think of some. The first question is from Janet. Janet, are you here?
Jane.
Oh, Jane. Oh, I'm sorry. Jane Monfort?
Yes.
Hi, okay. You asked how to get your Apple products to sync. For example, if I delete emails from my iPad, how can I get those synced off of my iPhone and Mac? Okay, Jane, let me ask you a couple of questions. What email program are you using?
Gmail.
You're using Gmail. Are you? Where do you read your Gmail? On your
Whatever I have in my hand.
Okay. Do you go to the Apple Mail to read your Gmail?
No.
So where do you go to read it?
I have a Gmail on my.
Do you go to the internet to read your Gmail?
Yes.
Gmail app, maybe.
You have a Gmail app, or do you go to the internet?
I go to the internet.
You go to the internet. So your Gmail should be, when you delete it on the internet, it should delete from all your devices, but it doesn't.
You see,
Because, do you, go ahead, George.
now I'm just concerned that you're definitely going to the internet, or you're doing it through your Apple Mail program.
I'm not doing it through Apple Mail.
Okay.
Either way, it's just delete.
Right, if you go onto Safari, right? Do you go onto Safari and then to
Directly to
Gmail?
Mail now on all of my devices.
You go to Mail on your devices? Okay. Do you have iCloud?
I do.
Okay. So to get onto iCloud, you need to go to Settings and to your name, and then your iCloud account should be there. And you have an iCloud account, right?
I do.
Okay. All right, once you do that, then you need to make sure that you have Mail on. So you would go to your iCloud account and make sure Mail is on, and the little green is showing. And you do the same thing on your phone and on your iPad. And then on your computer, you go to System Preferences, and you go to iCloud, and you make sure that it's on there too. And then it should sync off from all of them. Okay? All right, so on your iOS devices, you go to Settings, iCloud, and make sure you have Mail on. And on your computer, you go to System Preferences. Anybody want to add any more to that?
I just had sort of a related question.
Okay.
I still use Earthlink Mail Pop because I wanted to be able to always have the mail. I access it through Apple Mail on my Mac laptop.
Right.
And it used to have it set up, I can access my Earthlink Mail on my iPhone, but it used to be so that if I read it on my laptop and I deleted it there or filed it, then it didn't show up on the iPhone. And then at some point when I upgraded either my phone or my iOS or whatever, now even if I access it on the laptop and I file it and I delete it, then it's still all on my iPhone.
You gotta do what she said.
Well, I don't.
Well, it's a pop
Yeah.
email, so.
Yeah, and I don't.
Oh, then you can't do it.
And I don't keep it in iCloud because of the security situation.
Well,
yes,
yeah.
so I don't want to delete it like on my iPhone and have it disappear forever because I download it on my hard
Well,
drive.
somehow or other, your iPhone thinks it's sitting there. And somehow, I don't know whether it got transferred over. I mean, if you have a pop mail, it stays on your device.
Right.
And you have to manually remove it. And it doesn't connect to the other devices. So I think you just have to remove it from both of them. I don't know why.
Yeah, because it used to be that if I read it and filed it or deleted it on my laptop, then it wasn't on.
Well, you know, as you upgrade to new operating systems, you know, you don't know what Apple does. Apple thinks you want to keep it on your phone, and they think you want to keep it on your, you know, I don't know. I'm just
Neither
guessing.
Apple nor Earthlink could get me back, so I just have to do both
Right.
separately.
Somebody over here had a question. Jim?
Yeah, the only thing I would add to what you said to do, which is basically activate the software in the cloud, is that I had a problem with calendars not syncing. And when I did that, it still didn't sync. I had to turn the devices off and start them up again, and then it was fine.
Yes, I think that's a good idea for a lot of things. When you put new commands on, I found that on my computer many times. You do something, a new command kind of thing, and it doesn't take until you shut it down and reopen it. It's a good suggestion. Bill?
I use iCloud Mail, and I have AOL Mail, which I've had for centuries. And on the iOS device, it's inconsistent. I mean, I will look up my AOL Mail, find nothing, go to the computer, and I've got 20 emails. And I have reloaded that AOL account several times trying to solve that.
Is that a map account?
It's a pop.
See,
No.
I'm sorry,
it's a map account?
map, yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. Anybody else have AOL here?
Yeah, it
Don?
works fine for me. It deletes from every device when I delete a mail.
Yeah, it's no problem deleting, but they're just not there.
They're not showing up?
Right, they're not syncing or showing up.
Have you rebooted your, oh, I didn't need to do that. Let's get this back up. Have you rebooted your device lately? Sometimes that helps.
I'll try that.
I mean, that's the
I
only
think
thing,
so.
that's the only thing I can think of. Sometimes when something doesn't work, it just gets lost.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it that often, but in that case, that's the first thing I would do. And you know how to do that?
Yeah.
You press the home button and the,
Yeah.
now if you have a new, if you have a device without a home button on it, you press the on-off button and then the, I'm trying to, I know it's the side button, but sometimes you press just the the louder button, and sometimes you have to press both buttons, and I'm not
On
sure.
the newer devices, you gotta press both.
You have to press both buttons and the home and the on-off button to reboot if you don't have a, like this is a 10 if you don't have a home button. If you do have a home button, then you do the home button and the on-off button and hold it down until the Apple shows up. And that sometimes clears up stuff. Don?
Yeah, I find on my Mac, a lot of times if I just close the mail app and then reopen it, it makes it search again for messages. And the same thing on my iPhone, but I don't restart the phone. I just close the app, you know, whatever, however you do that on.
Just put it to sleep and then open it up again or something?
No, I've got an older phone where you flip it up and
Oh,
close
okay.
the app. There's a lot of apps that works. Like I have a Tides app, and it just told me that sunrise is 2 minutes from now. So, but I closed the app and relaunched it, and it searches again, and it, you know, resets. So
You could try also.
same thing for mail.
Yeah. You could try also getting rid of some of the, go to the part where you move between the apps, where you can get rid of them.
Oh, yeah.
You
Clean
know,
up that.
and clean that up, or what do you call that, app switcher. That's another thing. So, I mean, there might be something, you might have an AOL thing in there it's not supposed to do that, but that's another trick you could try. Okay, let's go back to questions. Yes?
Just a comment, if I might go back to the mail. And that was my understanding, that was turned on to store my mail in the cloud. I didn't want my mail stored. But when I deleted an email on either my iPad or my iPhone, it takes it off of all my devices. I just tried it, took one off. I did it on my iPad, took it off of my iPhone. I don't know why. I don't know what the settings are. So for whatever that's worth.
Well, it's somehow syncing.
And I don't know what makes it do that, but I'm happy with what I have, but I just want to offer.
Right. Anybody have a thought on that? I have no idea.
I think the iCloud thing only has to do with Apple Mail. My AOL mail has always synced even before they had iCloud.
And it's Gmail that I'm using.
And Gmail would always sync anyway. It doesn't have anything to do with iCloud. I don't.
Except hers doesn't, Jane's doesn't sync that, so I have no idea why that is. The same way I get messages, before I synced my messages, I got messages on all my devices, so I have no idea why that happens, but, well, good for you. I don't know if, and what, do you use Gmail?
AOL.
You use Gmail, yeah, and you use AOL, okay, I don't know. Okay. I don't know the answer to this question. This is from Mary. How do I get Siri to give me oral directions? She asks Siri for directions and they pop up in writing, but she wants Siri to talk to her about it. Well, I always use the maps to get oral directions, so I don't know.
Yeah, so in other words, it's not possible.
I don't know. Does
Siri
any,
has always given me oral directions. Suddenly,
oh, it used to
he
give you oral
answers me and
directions.
says, "You want directions to such and such. Here they are." And then it's only
Did you
written.
try, did you
And
try
it
to
used
say
be
speak?
that it would give me oral directions. Turn here, make a U-turn, 1 mile further. Now all oral directions have stopped.
We ought to ask Jeff about that. He probably knows the answer to it. But could you say something to Siri like, Siri, please speak?
I tried that.
Didn't work, huh?
I asked Siri, please give me oral directions. Didn't work.
But when you asked Siri for directions, did it launch the Maps app?
It shows me the map. I'm not sure if that's an Maps app.
Yeah, probably, I guess it does.
Mary, that usually happens to newlyweds.
But
Well,
my
let's-
question, Marilyn, if I can ask a related question, is there any way, when you, in the Maps app, can you review the route without launching it?
Yes, there is a way to do that.
Can you show us how to do that?
I wish I could remember it, but I'm just looking here to see if there's anything under Siri. This is Siri and search. The only thing I can suggest is to try different sentences. After Siri comes up with the, I think sometimes if Siri comes up with a written answer, you can ask her to say the answer. And I don't know what sentence you use, but maybe she doesn't like that sentence.
I'll keep experimenting, and if I find the answer, I'll let you know next time.
But there is, if you search the internet for list of Siri commands, there's a whole list of them.
Mary, did you say you were using the Maps program?
I don't know what Siri uses. I just said, hey, I always say, hey Siri, I need directions to, and I'm not sure if Siri is then using the Maps app or not.
Probably.
There is a way in Maps to, let's see, details. That's it.
What did you just say?
I just pressed details.
Where was that? Oh, up
Okay,
there.
let me go back here. Okay,
Hey Siri.
all right, I'm going to,
Oh, yeah, each one, did you?
see, under, right here. My battery went out. Right under where the 27-minute thing is on there, can you see it?
Right.
Use your cursor.
Okay.
Starting route
It's not going to work. Anyway, it says details. Don?
Okay, I'm looking on my phone. I don't see it on my phone. I put in Pine Ridge Middle School. I see at the bottom, you know, drive, walk, transit, and ride. I still have iOS 12, but I don't think it's changed. It's the same as 11. So as far as I know, unless I press go.
I don't see it on my phone either.
So probably it's only on a computer and on your iPad.
You know what I usually do when I do a map? I usually do it on my computer and send it to my phone.
It's 11 o'clock.
So you can send your new directions to your phone from your computer.
How do you do that?
Well, I don't have the computer. This is not my computer, but if there is an option there to send it, you know, do it on your computer and then send it to your phone. I don't know exactly off the top of my head where it is, but I know you can do it.
Is it like sending an email? You're sending an email, right?
Mary?
I just tried it and it looks like it's working and I just figured out what's wrong. I've been listening to an audio book on CarPlay. And CarPlay is connected now to my phone when I'm driving, so I can listen to the book. And that's when Siri stopped talking to me. So I think that's what was wrong.
Oh.
So what did you do?
So just now I'm in here with you all without CarPlay going on, and I asked for directions quietly in my seat, and it gave me oral directions. So I think that CarPlay interfered with Siri.
There you
So
go.
if I want directions, I better detach CarPlay, and
Well, there must
I
be
can do
some
that
way
by
you...
detaching the wire, because CarPlay only works in my car if I'm wired.
You know that she's 100% right, because I had exactly the same problem, and it was, and now that I think about it, I had plugged it into CarPlay. So disconnect CarPlay.
Is there a way you can disconnect it temporarily or turn it off temporarily?
CarPlay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just take the wire off.
Just take.
Your phone, detach the
Oh,
wire from your phone.
okay. Gotcha. That's
and
easy.
when- yeah.
Okay, problem solved, thank you.
All right, what I'm going to do is, I will look, when I get home, I'll check that out, and I'll put an email out on it.
Thank you.
Okay. So move, whoops. Move, map, info, to my phone. And then you can look at it, you can look at the directions on your computer. You can even print them out, I think. And then you'll be able to see them visually. That's one of the reasons I like to do that, in case I want to visualize. So, I mean, around here, it's not a big deal, but if you're not around here, it's helpful to do that. Or if you have somebody, you have a navigator helping you out, right? Okay, any other questions?
The
Tim?
advantage of the navigation in a car now is you don't have to talk to your wife about how to get there.
Okay, Jerry?
I'm having a spiritual moment. I'm trying to search for an app. How do I find an app on my iPad?
I think they have a new way to do that.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the App Store.
No, it's an app in my iPad.
Oh.
How do I find it?
Oh, okay.
Go to the first page.
Go to the first page
Yeah,
and type in under search at the top.
yeah. I just typed in that, because that's what I was wanting to find. And I did search, and I get things like weather and mail and news, but I don't get to that.
I wonder if it's in a folder.
Well, it happens to be.
It's a separate app.
Yeah.
my phone, as soon as I type map in the search thing, the icon for Google Maps and Maps Me and Weather Map.
I'm working on my iPad and it's,
Oh,
type that.
MapQuest, Maps. There it is. Showed
Do a
up.
hard reset. See if it still happens.
Yeah, mine showed up.
I will do a hard reset.
I don't know if that works, but anyway. Okay.
Yeah, let us know if it works.
Carl?
How familiar are you with storing like passports and documents in one password?
No, I am not familiar at all with that. I am not a one-password person, so I'm sorry, I can't answer that. You can wait till next week, or maybe somebody else here can answer it.
What was the question?
I just, if she's familiar with it, I wanted her to go the steps to store the passport information in one password.
You mean on the computer?
Yeah, well, on your iPad or your iPhone, to keep it handy in your, so it was a secure place in one password, but you'd have it with you whenever you needed it.
Well, just off the top of my head, you probably could use something like Dropbox that you have does that make sense?
No, I'm talking about one password.
Yeah, but I mean, can't you, is it Dropbox consistent with one password?
Yeah, but I'm talking about how to put information, enter the information into one password to save it.
Yeah, I'm not understanding the problem.
That's not a problem, no.
One password you can use to save things like passport information, driver's license, and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But I'm not sure exactly how to do it, and I was just wondering if somebody else knew how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I do it.
Okay, I can't demonstrate it to you right now.
Well, maybe is it easy to explain to Marilyn?
Well, yeah, but she doesn't have one password on them.
I don't have, actually, I do have it on here, but I'm not using it.
Let's just put it up there.
Could you go into contacts? And in contacts, you just,
But it's not then necessarily secure.
Yeah.
In one password, there are about 15 different, I'll call them folders, in the left-hand column. And you can select one, and you can say new, but some of them are named like credit card, driver's license, and other stuff. And you can go into any of those and create a new one, or you can edit the information in this new one. Very straightforward.
Yeah, mine isn't set up, so, yeah, it's not gonna work. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yes,
I feel like I'm new using an iPhone, and
okay.
I may be saying something that everybody knows how to do.
No, that's okay.
No
Okay.
question is to,
No, it's not necessarily a question, but I'm starting to use my iPhone for a lot of things like, obviously, contacts, phone numbers. As soon as I put the address in there, I was surprised to learn that I can hit that address and it shows me the map to get to it.
correct.
And stuff, and information like that, gradually this is going to be important for people that have to pick up after you. It's not paper. It's like you saying you can print out a map from this and you put it in a paper file with the doctor. It shows
Right.
your family how you get to their doctor. But this is going to do that too.
That's true. If you have a person who knows how to get around the phone, they can get a lot of information. They can get health information, they can get a lot of information from contacts. You're absolutely right. It's a good point.
Well, and I was just surprised.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm always surprised. I came in here and we have a special instructor password. You weren't here in the room when it happened, but I have it on my iPad, but I didn't have it on my phone. So I went to into the Wi-Fi to get the instructor password on my phone in case I wanted to show you something on my phone. And I'm just going to diddle around with this a minute so that it doesn't go away. Anyway,
yes, of course.
and I got a notice on my phone saying, would you like to, or on my iPad, would you like to share this with your phone? And I said yes, and ta-da, the password automatically went into my phone. That never happened to me before, so, I mean, everything is connected and everybody knows what's in your life.
It's thinking for you, asking you, do you want to connect? And you don't
Exactly.
even know you could, yeah.
I want to do a Wednesday meeting on artificial intelligence. But I need to talk to my grandson, who is a computer engineer that works in artificial intelligence. But the reason I want to do it is because we are immersed in it already. We don't even know that we're using artificial intelligence all the time. And, you know, what are the pros and cons and all that? And you go on, I've seen several things on the internet about how everybody is now getting into artificial intelligence. So how does machine learning affect our lives? Like if you have a home thing, like an Alexa or an Apple Home unit, that's all artificial intelligence stuff.
Well, and I'll tell you an instance, Carl and I had a car that basically would tell us how long it takes to get here. We were shocked the day that we got in our car, started our car at a certain time on Wednesday morning, and it proceeded to tell us where we were already going. We didn't tell it to remember.
Right.
It did.
Right. But I mean, there are so many positive things about it, and according to our grandson, he says it's going to be huge in health issues.
Yes.
He says that they're working on that amazingly, and he actually has a health issue, and he's working with Sloan Kettering, and they're using the artificial intelligence there. So someday you may see that advertised when I get it all together, but I think it's something that we need to know about because it can help us, but we also have to know what are the downsides of
Yeah,
it too.
you got
you know?
limitations and security.
I saw another hand, yes.
Speaking of intelligence, we have our health insurance, and John had it in his phone, and when we went to the emergency room, it was so nice to pull it up, and there all the prescriptions were there for the doctor to see.
Right.
Well, that was from the class probably that put new information in.
Well, no, we've had it for a while, but I mean, it just.
Yeah, it's nice to have it in your phone.
Well, the only thing is, you can't get both of us on unless we have separate Apple IDs. So she had a jury-rigged app, so it would have both of us that could access both of our information.
Well, whenever I go to the doctor and I have to fill in all that stuff, I always pull up my prescription list. First of all, because I can't spell the stuff. That's one of the main reasons. Anyway, okay, one of the things I wanted to show you today, which is kind of a fun thing that you can do, is it's called multitasking. Now that word is a little confusing because it used to be when you switched from one app to the other, they used to call that multitasking. They no longer call that multitasking. Apple now calls that the app switcher. What I just showed you before, where you get all of the apps up there. That's called app switcher. That's not called multitasking anymore. This is called multitasking. And this is where you can look at two different apps at the same time and work with two different apps at the same time. These three slides I have put on, yesterday I put it on the discussion group. So if you go and look at your mail from Naples Mug, did anybody see it? Did it show up?
No.
It didn't show up?
No.
Really? All right, I'll put it out again. Anyway, in case you want to look it up. Okay, so let me demonstrate a little bit here. I need to go to...
So this is only on iPads? Not on iPads.
Let me show you. No, I want to go to this one. Okay. This is iPad Mini 4, iPad Air 2 or later. Okay, so that would be iPad Pro and the two following Pros. There's like 3 levels of Pros out now. So if you have any of those, you can do this. So this might motivate you to do it, I don't know. All right, so I'm going to open Mail, and I'm going to open a new message. And then I'm going to bring up the dock. Well, okay, this is, you can get the other second app from the dock. And I had it set up before that I had my photos in the dock, but they're not there now. Now, there's a way to do this without having the second app in the dock, but I think it's a little tricky, so I think the best thing for me to do right now is to go to Photos, open it, then go back to Mail. And now when I open the dock, you know, the most recent apps that you've looked at are the 3 on the right-hand side there. Okay, so I just opened Photos, so now it's showing as a most recent app. All right, so I'm going to go to Mail, and then I'm going to bring up the dock, and I'm going to take the Photos app, I'm going to drag it on top of Mail. So now I have this floating app that I can put anywhere here on top of the Mail. And with what I can do, let me see if I can find what I want to find here. Oh, I want to find the bird album. So I'm going to open the bird album. And I'm going to select, well, this is fine anyway. I'm going to select those 2 birds. And I'm going to drag them into my Mail app. And there they are. So you can drag photos into other apps. Now, the other thing I can do with this, if you see that little line on top of the floating app, this line up here, I wish my thing was working, but anyway, the little line on the top, if I pull it down, now I'm going to split the screen between those 2 apps. And in the middle, you see a little line, and then I can adjust how wide I want that to be. So now, instead of having a floating app, I have a split screen app. And I can do the same thing that I just did using the split screen.
Is that the same thing as a split screen?
There's 2, the floating app is the one that lays on top, okay? And you can use that. But you can also do a split screen. Either way, it works. You can either have the floating app or you can change it into a split screen. Don?
So your pointer doesn't work. What do you mean by the line? You mean this thing that thing?
Yes.
What you're talking about?
Yes, the little line on the top. Now, if I want to take it back to a floating app, I'm going to pull down on that line, and now it's gone back to a floating app. And I can move it. By touching that line, I can slide it over to this side if I'd rather have it over there.
So you're putting your finger on it. Yes.
Right.
Can you make the whole thing bigger?
Well, that's why the split screen is better if you want to make it bigger. Now, you see I pulled it off to the right? If I just pull in from the right, I can get it back. Okay? But if I pull down on that little line on top, I can make a split screen. Now I want to make the Photos app bigger. I just touch in the middle between the 2 apps and slide it over, and now I've got a bigger screen for my photo apps. Okay, now, let me go back.
Did Bill have a question?
Well, I was going to say, at some point, when you show us how we do the split screen again,
Yeah. Okay.
not this one, but the,
Start from the beginning?
no,
Oh,
where you had the full
okay.
iPad.
All right, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm back to the floating app. Now what do you want me to do?
No, I want to see how we, previous to what you just showed us, we were able to do a split screen.
Right.
And it would include the entire the entire face of the iPad.
Correct. Okay. It does include, now the app on the bottom The reason that this looks like it's not including the entire one is because I have a new message here. So this is laying on top of the Mail app, but you are seeing the total screen of the Mail app, okay, underneath. But to make this, to adjust the size of each of the apps, it's better to go into the split screen.
Sure.
So now, if I want to make the photo app bigger, I just touch in the middle here, and I can adjust the size.
Amazing.
All right, now I'm going to show you another trick. I'm going to go back into Mail again, and I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to put in a new one. And then I'm going to, I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up, and I'm going to take the photo app, and instead of dragging it on top of the Mail, I'm going to drag it to the far right.
So it's not loading.
Okay, it's not on top of it, it's in the black area there. And then I automatically have my split screen. And I can do the same there.
Thank you.
So I see where you're pushing. I just noticed that on one of the windows, there's always a line here on the vertical, as well as this one up at the top.
Right. The vertical line is what you push when you have split screen. The line at the top has to do with the second app. Now, if I wanted to turn the split screen into a floating app, I can pull down on that little line at the top, and I could go back to floating app. And I can shove it off, totally off, and then I can shove it totally back on again. Oh, wait, what's the other side?
And in every case, you are putting your finger on the line, and is that correct?
Yes.
Marilyn,
Conrad.
how on earth did you learn all this?
Well, the way I learn things is one is I Google a lot. But there are 3 or 4 really good places that I go. First of all, I subscribe to lynda.com, and it's very expensive, so you probably don't want to do that. But if you, I think you can get like one class on lynda.com for $25 or $30 or something like that. And they have iOS 12 update on it, and it's excellent. It's the best I've ever seen. You can go to Noteboom tutorials, and then Apple, if you go to Apple support, you can get any information on anything in very great detail. And there's one other place that you can go, which I'm going to show you.
YouTube also.
YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. There's thousands of, I'm not a big YouTube user, so that's another place you can go. You can also go to Take Control. Here's Take Control of iOS 12. And here is the iPhone user guide for iOS 12.1 in the bookstore. If you go to the bookstore, you can get this for free. And let's see if I can end. You will see that it has 885 pages for free from Apple if you want to read all that stuff.
Conrad, if you actually read everything I sent you in the discussion group, you will know
Why would we
everything
do
there
that,
is to
George?
know forever.
About everything. Right, that's fun. All right, now I'm going to show you something else.
I don't suppose I should ask this, but you can't do it on a laptop, can you?
No, this is just the iPad. No, you can't do it on the iPhone, only on the iPad. But there is one thing you can do on the iPhone, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Okay. Now, how do you do text? So I'm going to go to Notes, and I'm going to bring up It's not there. All right, let me go to Safari. And, okay, maplesmug.com. Oh, that's a good one, okay. Let's see if I can get there from here. Maybe I have to go there first. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, naplesmug.com. All right, so I'm going to go down to, let me split the screen so I get a little more space here. I'm going to go down to class descriptions. Okay, now Marty's going to do cloud computing. So let's see. I'm going to select this description of Marty's class on cloud computing. And I want to put it in my notes. Now this is text. So I'm going to press on what I have selected till it jumps up. And then I'm going to slide it over. And there it is. So you have to hold it, and then it will lift up from the app that you have used, and you can slide it over. So that's how you would do text, and you can do that from, this is happened to be from the internet. But you can do it from Pages or something else. Jerry?
If you don't have one of these advanced iPads, when you selected that, you hit a copy. Could you copy it and then paste it?
Yes, absolutely. If you can select it and tap, when you select something, you usually get, let's see if I can, well, let me go here. Okay, I'm going to tab. You see where it says copy? And I'm going to copy this paragraph. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to press down till I get, I'm not getting it. Let's see if it'll come. There's paste, okay? And it should go there, but it didn't. I probably lost it over here.
Click it, yeah.
I probably didn't click it properly. But anyway, that's how it would work. Okay, now this one I think you can do on the phone. I haven't tried it on the phone. But I'm going to go back a minute to my notes here. Oops, whoops, that's not where my notes are. Okay, so just to review, you open the first app, you drag the second app up from the dock on top of the first app, and you get a floating panel. Okay? To move the photos, you select them and you drag them over. To move the text, you select it and then you touch and hold it until it lifts up, and then you drag it. Okay? To temporarily hide the floating panel, you drag it off to the right side. I think you probably can drag it off to the left side too. And then to see it again, you just scroll from the right and it'll pop up. Now, if you drag on the handle of the floating app and pull it down, it'll turn into a split screen. Okay? If you drag on it again, it'll go back to a floating app. It's like a little toggle. Okay. To adjust the size of the app, you scroll it. You take the line in the middle, and you'll see a little short line, and you can just move it, hold it down, and move it to the size you want. If you want to go directly to a split screen, you open the first app, you drag the second app up from the dock all the way to the right, not on top of the other app, and it will automatically become a split screen. And as I say, there is another way to bring an app up other than from the dock, but I found it too tricky to do to start. So my advice is, if your app is not in the dock, open it and close it, and it'll appear on the right-hand side, because the last 3 apps there are the most recent ones that you have used. And I'll try to send this out in the mail again and see if it'll go. I don't know why. Hello?
And this will work for any app, not just Apple apps.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know why it wouldn't work for any app. Well, I have all Apple apps down here now, but let's see. All right, let's put up notes again. And let's open a new note. No, well, that's a share, excuse me. Okay, new note. Okay, so I'm going to go into the, let me get rid of this. I'm going to go into the dock and open crosswords. That's not an Apple app.
There it is.
There it is.
Marilyn, where is that in settings? Because I turned mine off. I know, I don't know where it is.
It did tell me.
And their search feature is awful. I just typed in split screen and absolutely nothing comes up.
Well, I was able to get to the, I went into my favorites on the second app, and I selected from the favorites. I do know where that is in settings, and I'm trying to remember. I can look it up later. Let me do the other thing, and then I'll try to find it for you. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go to MacMost. MacMost is Gary's website. And you know, Gary has little movies, right? So we're going to find a movie we like. How to post photos to Facebook from your Mac. Siri shortcuts. Building a nonlinear presentation. All right, let's do the first one. That looks like a good one. So it says how to post photos to Facebook. So I'm going to start playing that. Now, when I touch this...
So before Mojave, for a few versions of Mac OS,
Oh,
we
no.
had the ability to directly post photos from...
I'm going to go down to the far right-hand corner of the little movie that looks like a box with little spaces in it. Do you see that? Okay, that's going to open it up to full screen. So I'm going to open it up to full screen. And I want you to look at the very top. You see the X on the top? On the top left side? Do you see the little box next to it that looks like an arrow pointing down? Okay. That's the box we're going to touch, and it's going to shrink the movie into a corner of my iPad. All right, so let me tap that. Okay, do you see how it shrunk the movie down to the bottom over here? This is the movie down here.
the Photos app to Facebook. But Apple cut that link, probably due to privacy concerns.
Now I can move
So
that.
now we just
I
have to
can
go
move
through
that
the website,
movie.
but if you used to...
I can move that movie around. I just touch it and I can move it up to this corner, and I can move it up to this corner, I can move it up to this corner. I can move it up to this corner. All right, now I want to keep watching this movie, but I want to go look at something that I did before. So I'm going to play the movie.
Through photos.
I'm going to bring up the
then
dock.
we've got to kind of relearn how to do it normally through the website. So here I am on my Facebook page, and I want to create a new post, and I can click on photo.
So I want to go
video,
back
photo,
into
video here. You know, the Facebook interface
pages.
change all the time, but
But I
basically,
wanna
if
keep
click on
watching.
it, it's going to
We lost reflectors.
I lost reflector? There you go. Okay. Let me get that back up again. Are we up? Yes. Okay. All right, so anyway, you can go do something else. Go to Excel, go to Pages, do whatever else you want to do, but you still want to be listening to the movie. Or say you're playing a movie to entertain you, and you want that to be playing while you're doing something else. And as I said, you can move it around, get it out of your way. Now suppose you want it to go back to full screen. If you look very carefully in the bottom right-hand corner, let me see if I can get this up a little bit. Okay. Do you see that little box on the left side? Instead of the arrow going down, it's now pointing up. Okay? So I'm going to touch it, and it's going to go back up to where it was, where I got it from. That's called picture-in-picture. So that's another way to overlay something on your iPad. So let me go back to the slide and review. If you're using FaceTime or watching a movie, tap that little icon with the arrow pointing down, and the video screen scales down to a corner of your display. Then open a second app, and the video will continue to play. You can drag the video to any corner. To return the video to full screen, tap the icon with the reverse arrow on the left corner of the video. Hide the video by dragging to the left or right edge of your display. Tap the arrow icon to make the video reappear. Okay, so you have all those choices. So that's called picture-in-picture. So that's how to watch more than one app at a time using floating screens, split screens, or picture-in-picture. I think picture-in-picture might work on more iPads than split screen. I don't know whether it works on the iPhone or not.
So I think you said you were going to show us something on the iPhone.
Well, I said I'm going to try and see if picture-in-picture works there. I'm not going to set it up yet. Let me just see if it works here. If it is, I'll just move over to this device. Somehow or other, all right. I want to see if I can get this in full screen. Yes, I can. But I don't see the... I don't see that little icon, so probably doesn't work on the phone. Okay, we have time for one or two more questions. Yes?
That 800-page Apple book, how do you get to that?
You go to the go to books. Somehow or other, we have to keep tapping around to get that. Oh, I'm already there. Okay. If you tap on this doesn't like to do this in, okay. I tap around the screen too, you can get this thing at the top. If you see the little arrow, left arrow at the top left side there?
Yeah.
Okay, if you tap that and keep going back, you get to the home page of the books.
Is
Okay?
that iBooks?
It's iBooks, it's now called Books. In iOS 12, it's now called Books, but it's the same thing, iBooks, it works the same.
Thank you.
Okay, down at the bottom, you'll see Reading Now, Library, Bookstore. So you go to the bookstore. Now, this looks different if you have iBooks than if you have Books. It's the same app, but it looks different. Okay, now you can look through here, you can do top charts, you can get special offers, and you can do browse. So I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go to,
How do you pull browse up?
let me go back. Up at the top, under the word bookstore, it says browse sections. Somehow I got special offers and free. Let's see if that's anything. That's not where I got it. I got it under something called Basics.
Computers and internet.
You could probably do a search for
I could probably do a search for it.
Are you looking for the?
That's how I got it. I
it.
did
No,
a
it's-
search.
you go all the way to the
All the
bottom.
way to the bottom is a search thing. That's how I did it. Thank you. Okay, so then I put in
Free Apple user guide.
iPhone.
Put in free Apple user guides.
No, I searched just for iPhone user guide and several of them came up.
Right. That's how I did it. But it might work the way George is saying too. iPhone. There we go. Okay, so now you have iPhone user guide 11.2, 12.1. That's the one I got, 12.1. That's the newest one. And then you just click on it and you can download it. Now it's not going to download because I've already got it downloaded, so it's not going to do that. But it'll give you a chance to download it and then you can read it in Books or iBooks. If you have iBooks, it's a little less complicated finding stuff than the way I just tried to do it in the new books.
Marilyn,
Yes.
can you get to the free Apple user guides, maybe do a search?
Okay.
I mean, that could answer Conrad's question also. There's a user guide there for everything.
Right. I'm trying to, for some reason, this, okay.
What do you call that?
All right, search. Okay, so we're going to do free
Apple user guides.
Apple user guides. And you do search.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so these are, it says see all. Okay, there we go. iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, iPad Touch, Final Cut, Motion User Guide, iPad 2 Survival Guide. That's going way back, huh? Okay, so. But I don't see, oh, here's the 12.1, it's on the bottom. Be careful that you get the right iteration of it. Here's the iPad user guide for 12.1, if you want to get that instead of the iPhone user guide. They are similar, but they're not exactly the same, because there's certain things you can do on iPad that you can't do on the phone, and certain things you can do on the phone that you can't do on the iPad. So, did you find what you were looking for, Marcia? To turn the split screen back on?
Not really a setting, just a swipe up from the bottom.
Oh, okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.